Now, Unitarians don't have creeds or dogma or rituals, but one thing that this Unitarian Church and Unitarian churches across the UK and indeed across the world do is to light the chalice. It's a really important part of our history being lit, particularly during the Second World War, where the chalice in Unitarian homes was lit to show that this was a safe haven and a place that people could come to. So it's a really important part of our spiritual history. And I read some words from Ben Sewell. Out of the darkness, light. Out of the light, warmth. Out of the warmth, joy. Out of the joy, togetherness. May this flame hold us for the time we are here together. We talk about joy because it's time of Advent, Adventus, waiting. And that time that we are waiting, we're on the third Sunday of Advent. We've had hope and we've had peace, and now we've got joy before the encapsulating love next week. So have some reading kindly provided by Newcastle as I do our third candle for Advent, which is joy. In the Christian tradition, Advent is the beginning of the church year, recognizing the transforming power of God in the world, looking forward to the birth of Jesus and celebration of spiritual light. Each week until Christmas, we light a new candle on the Advent wreath. When so much asks for our attention, the lighting of one candle after another reminds us that this season must pass in its own time. Birth cannot be rushed. We have the choice to be awakened and fully inhabit the present moment. The light of Advent grows brighter and brighter as we celebrate our coming together as a community. This morning, we light the third candle as a symbol of joy, not just any simple cheer, but the experience of joy that cannot be contained. Advent asks us to proclaim our gladness as a gift to the world, even when sorrow and uncertainty abound. May we share our hearts through our words, our music, and the way we live our lives. Let the fullness of our joy lead to more freedom. Amen. Blessed be. Carl Seeberg wrote, "Let there be joy in our coming together this morning. Let there be truth heard in the words we speak and the songs we sing. Let there be help and healing for our disharmony and despair. And let there be silence for the voice within us and beyond us." Coming to a reading which is entitled Joyfully Surprised by Adrian Graham, written in 2019. So, as a phrase from a certain programme in my childhood, I hope you're all sitting comfortably. Quote first from May Sarton, who said, "We have to dare to be ourselves, however frightening or strange that self may prove to be." Adrian wrote, "I spent an entire year brooding over whether and when to come out to my family. I'd had little practice with some close friends in college and later with a few friends from high school. Looking back on the experience now, I can almost laugh at myself, or at least smile. The first few times I essentially announced, after much beating around the bush, that Adrian is not straight. That was the most direct I'd ever been in my entire life. Before we got to that point, one of my friends tried to clue the others in with a metaphor that began something like, well, there are apple trees and there are orange trees. And I know I've been through this, so I know exactly what it's like. In hindsight, watching them trying to figure out what the heck she was talking about was absolutely hilarious. But at the same time, I could not find my laughter. I was consumed with fear. And all I could think was, what if they reject me? In the end, they did not reject me. Sure, there were a few minor bumps here and there, mostly learning experiences for my benefit, but they held me in love and continue to do so this day. What a blessing. Now, coming out to my family might have been one of the hardest things I've had to do. We held to traditional religious values when it came to culture and social concerns. At least that's what I was taught. In the end, I realised that my choice was one of life and death, and I needed to let my secret out in order to continue living, and to do so authentically. My friends stuck with me throughout that entire year of brooding. It was hard, and I was scared, and they held me in love. I'm not sure I could have faced the challenge without them. You see, we did it together. Today, I continue to be joyfully surprised by my mere existence. I am forever grateful to them and ever mindful of how I offer my presence to others. Joyfully surprised. Let's join together in a short prayer. God of compassion and companionship and presence, be with us always and draw near to us in times of fear and uncertainty. Teach us to hold one another gently and in abundant love. Show us the ways we can nurture authenticity, wholeness, and peace in ourselves and one another. Amen. The second reading is not a reading. It's a poem by Donna Ashworth. Some of you may have heard it, some of you may not. And the title of the poem is Joy Chose You. Joy does not arrive with a fanfare. On a red carpet strewn with the flowers of a perfect life, joy sneaks in as you pour a cup of coffee, watching the sunlight hit your favourite tree just right. And you usher joy away because you are not ready for her. Your house is not as it should be for such a distinguished guest. But joy cares nothing for your messy home, or your bank balance, or your waistline. You see, joy is supposed to slither through the cracks of your imperfect life. That's how joy works. You cannot truly invite her. You can only be ready when she appears, and hug her with every meaning, because in this very moment, joy chose you. Joy Chose You by Donna Ashworth. Does joy choose us? Maybe. I've got to think about that. But the working title for my address is Joy at Advent, with a big question mark at the end. Today marks the third Sunday in Advent, as we've said, and we'd light the joy candle, which symbolises joy at the soon coming of the baby Jesus. Joy candle is often pink, and it's actually referred to as the shepherd's candle, a bit more later. The angel's message to the shepherds was one of good tidings of great joy, and we find that in some of the Christmas carols, don't we? So as a reminder, the Christmas message is one of rejoicing. But what do we know about joy? See, rejoicing is not a word we use frequently in our vocabulary. You know, where I live, rejoicing usually means going to, going to the pub and having a few too many. That's what people seem to think rejoicing is, or um, and it's confused with its cousin happiness. They're not the same. See, happiness tends to be linked generally to external circumstances, and joy springs from deep within. At this time of year, it's very easy, isn't it, to get caught up in the pursuit of happiness. Whether it's hoping for that one item at the top of your Christmas wish list, trying to create a Christmas that looks like something unrealistic that you see on adverts in magazines and on the television, where you have the perfect table with all these things on it. And it's not like that. Christmas isn't about happiness. A lot of people who find it difficult to be happy. See, people could be celebrating Christmas without a dear loved one or an estranged member of family. They could be forced to be with family when they actually want to be on their own, and that can happen as well. I've had that experience in the past. There are people who find with financial or emotional stress. People don't know I work at the job centre, and I've got a lot of people coming to me that've got children that are really upset because they can't give the children the Christmas that they think they should have to give them. It's all about material gifts and commercialism, and I try and reassure them that whatever they're giving to their children, as long as they're loving them, that means a lot. But I can see why it's hard in society now. There's also a lot of people going to citizens advice because they get themselves in debt and take out new credit cards, and even phone calls to the Samaritans jump up around Christmas time because people have problems. People can't cope with this ideology of the Christmas. And there's great sadness. Can Christmas be full of joy in the midst of such circumstances? There's almost this expectation that you will enjoy Christmas no matter what. You will be happy. You will join in the Christmas carols and the songs. If I hear another Christmas song when I go in the supermarket, I'm going to go spare. I really am. I don't know how retail staff cope. So can Christmas actually be full of joy rather than this pretense happiness that we all seem to try and get? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying if you've got the tree and the presents and the lovely, groaning Christmas table and what have you, and you can manage to do it, that's great. I'm not criticizing, but for many people, that's just a dream. Now, I don't do this very often, but I was turning around and thinking about what is joy and how can we let these things go. And St. Paul wrote, "Don't fret or worry. Instead of worrying, pray. Let petitions and praises shape your worries into prayers, letting God know your concerns. Before you know it, a sense of wholeness, everything coming together for good, will come and settle you down. It's wonderful what happens, and I'll change this slightly, when the new Christ child displaces worry at the centre of your life. Now, whatever your beliefs, whether you believe in a transient or existential God or a present God or not God at all or meditation, having that time just to spend and becoming whole again and forgetting about the outside world, which is almost false. It's us meeting here almost feels more real than all the lights and the adverts outside. Only then can we find joy that springs from the heart and holds you tight in its embrace. Christmas, you might be able to find real joy by taking all your cares and worries and sitting there and thinking historically about the birth of the Christ child. You see, Joy was revealed, not sought. Joy was revealed to the shepherds, the lowest of the low, the shepherd's candle, when in the story, the messenger, the angel, because that means messenger, came to tell them about the birth of this tiny child who would turn the world upside down and try to bring people joy. Joy chose the man, Adrian Graham, when he decided to come to be himself, his authentic self. And although there were ups and downs, joy came to him through people's acceptance and his friends and the love that they showed him. So joy chooses to some extent when we are being our authentic selves. Not this falseness of trying to have to fit in with things that you have to do around Christmas, thinking, oh, I must do this, I must do that, oh, I haven't got a present for so-and-so, or what happens if I don't send so-and-so a Christmas card? Although having now realised what the price of a first-class stamp is, nobody will be getting a Christmas card from me. I was shocked, I tell you, really shocked. But joy chooses when we are being our authentic selves. Can we be our authentic selves at Christmas when there's all these expectations? Maybe we should, more of us, be our authentic selves. And then joy would come to us. And it does, as we said in the poem, it doesn't matter if you're ready. You'll never be ready. You'll never be ready. You know, you probably meet the perfect person. When you look awful and bedraggled waiting at a bus stop, you'll probably get the best job when you feel that you've done terribly in an interview, and joy will come and visit you just when you don't absolutely feel ready. But you need to take that moment and don't dismiss joy. And there was joy with everybody, the shepherds and the magi, and whatever the tale tells us of that small, defenseless, crying child that one day would change history and turn the world on its head. And that made me think that if we're our authentic selves and we allow joy to come to us, maybe it's our mission as people of faith and Unitarians, maybe it's also our job to turn the world on its head and bring joy to others that we absolutely meet, and say to them, joy will come to you as well. Joy at Christmas. Take a couple of moments just to think. Because in this very moment, joy chose you. I will lift up my voice and sing. Whatever may befall me, I will still follow the light which kindles song. I will listen to the music arising out of grief and joy alike. I will not deny my voice to the song, for in the depth of winter, song, like a bud peeping through the dry crust of earth, brings back memory and creates anew the hope and anticipation of spring. Out of a world that seems barren of hope, sing decries beauty in the shape of lifeless trees, lifts our eyes to distant mountain peaks, which even if we see them not, reminds us that they are there, waiting, and still calling us to come up higher, out of the destruction of dear hopes, out of the agony of heartbreak. Song rises once more to whisper to us that even this is but the stage setting for a new beginning, and that we shall take yet the pieces of our hearts and put them together in a pattern of deeper truer lights and shades. I will lift up my voice in song, for in singing I am myself renewed, and the darkness of night is touched by the promise of a new dawn, for light shall come again. I will lift up my voice by Robert Weston. The reality of Advent isn't that we are waiting for the birth of the Christ child. The child is here and waiting for us to come. He's crying out to us from the border. He's calling to us from the voices of the poor. He's shouting out to us from the prisons. He's waiting for us to live out our faith. He's waiting for us to seek justice. He is waiting for us to pursue peace. Let us go, for he is waiting. Amen. So may joy choose you in the week ahead. May you all leave here and go back to your homes safely. Thank you.